In this video, I want to show you how to make the perfect creamy nut butter. I love nut butter. Many of us love peanut butter, almond butter, macadamia nut butter. The one that I usually don't recommend is the peanut butter. And I know many of you are peanut butter lovers. However, what's going on with peanuts? Peanuts grow by itself an aflatoxin that is coming from a fungus. So as soon as we put peanuts in our body, we incorporate the aflatoxin, and that can imbalance the microbiome in our digestive system and cause candida overgrowth. So I wouldn't really recommend to eat any peanut derived products, but peanuts are higher in the type of fat that you don't want to put in your body. However, what is the substitute for peanut butter? Any other type of butter. My favorite, macadamia nut butter, almond butter, but you can make butter with any nut. And in this video, I want to show you how to make it. Definitely, you can go to the store and buy your nut butter. You don't have to do it at home, but this is easier, cleaner, and cheaper for your pocket. If you decide to go to the store to buy your nut butter, what you have to look for? Always go to the back label. Don't look at the front label. The front label is just to sell you the product. Even if it's organic, it may not be a good ingredients label. So when you go to the ingredients label, you only want to see nuts. That's all. But you don't want to see raw nuts. You want to see dry roasted or roasted nuts. And if they are roasted, you don't want to see any of the bad oils that are refined with chemicals and petroleum, like canola, safflower, sunflower, soybean, peanut, grapeseed oil, palm oil. You don't want to see any of your nuts roasted with any of those oils because they're refined. And why you don't want to see them raw? Is because when you eat nuts, you want to be sure that those nuts don't have any phytic acid. Phytic acid is a mineral chelator and blocks your digestive enzymes. Just imagine this is your digestive enzyme. You put the food and the minerals from the food bind the enzyme and start working. If you have phytic acid in that food, traps the mineral, cannot bind the digestive enzyme, so it's blocking your digestion and it's pulling those minerals from your body so you cannot absorb them, and you can end up with mineral deficiency and cause a lot of inflammation. So the way to eliminate phytic acid from your body is soaking the nuts, dry roasted, or sprouted. That is the other reason why you don't want to buy raw nut butter, because that means those nuts have phytic acid, and that's going to cause a lot of digestive discomfort. But then if you want to decide to make your nut butter like me, like with these almonds, for example, these are raw almonds, and that is okay, because what we are going to do, if you don't want to soak them and go through the whole soaking and drying process, what we are going to do is roast the nuts first. Okay, so let's get started. You will see how simple. I'm going to give you two alternatives to make your nut butter at home. First, we are going to roast the nuts, and you can do it in the conventional oven, or I'm going to be using my air fryer, which usually cuts down the timing of roasting the nuts to half. So I love the air fryer, and it's not heating up the kitchen, which is also very important now in this hot season. So anyway, you have to keep an eye on your nuts because each oven or air fryer are different. So what we are going to add to the nuts, you will see how simple. So the only thing you need is nuts, and we are going to roast as many nuts as you want to, depending how much nut butter you want to make. Choose your favorite raw nuts, and then we are going to use coconut oil or avocado oil if you don't want to have any coconut flavor. But believe me, with this amount of coconut oil, you are not going to have a lot of coconut flavor. But otherwise, avocado oil is also good. So I'm going to stir the coconut oil on the dough, just a little bit. And then with the hands, we are making sure that all the nuts are covered by the oil. Spread them well all over the pan. You don't want to have a lot of them, otherwise they are not going to roast homogeneously. I forgot to mention, you always want to have your nuts on top of parchment paper or a silicone mat. Don't use aluminum foil or you get a lot of aluminum contamination. And we are gonna roast them at 325 Fahrenheit between 5 to 15 minutes depending on your oven. So you can see now after 10-15 minutes in my oven, they got a little bit more brownish but not burn. Be sure that you don't burn your almonds. You just wanna roast them and get a more nutty flavor, so it's going to intensify the flavor of your nut butter. Now we are gonna let them cool down because they are too hot to start making the nut butter. And there are two ways that you can do your nut butter at home: with a food processor or with a masticating juicers. Yes, masticating juicers are not just to make your juice. You can make your nut butter, you can make your nut milk on it. I love my masticating juicers. So if you have any of these two, food processor, not blender, food processor or masticating juicer, this is how we are gonna make it. In the food processor, we are going to add 1 cup of your roasted nuts with 1/4 cup of avocado oil. I don't recommend you to use coconut oil now because when you put it in the refrigerator, it's gonna get really hard. So avocado oil is better. And then let's process. You have to be sure that you are making this with a very powerful food processor, otherwise you are gonna break it. So once in a while we push down the nuts that are in the wall. If you think it's too dry, you can add extra oil, but still you can see that it's a little bit coarse. It's not a paste, so we're gonna keep processing. Sometimes it can take even 10 minutes. As you can see, after maybe 5 minutes, it's already liquidy. If you like your nut butter liquidy like this, it's perfect. It's gonna harden in the refrigerator. If you like it harder, just add less oil at the beginning or add more nuts now and blend it. But this is yummy. And the second option is the masticating juicers. We are not going to use the strainer that we use to make the juice. As you can see, there are holes in there, so the liquid will fall from here. What we are going to use is this one instead, that as you can see is completely solid. So this is what we are gonna put in our masticating juicer. Let's turn on the juicer. We're gonna add directly the almonds that we have roasted in the oven without any extra oil, just the one that had before we roast them. The secret is to add them one by one, otherwise it's gonna get stuck in here. So don't get too excited and add too many at the same time. After the first round, the almonds look like a meal, like a powder, like if it would be like an almond flour. So we are gonna pass it a second round through the masticating juicer. So we take another container and we start passing again the flour through the masticating juicer. And now you can pass it faster. You don't have to go as slow because the powder doesn't get stuck in the masticating juicer. After the second pass, it's not that much as a powder. It's already start getting the shape of a paste. So we are gonna pass it a third time. After 3 rounds, this is already almond butter. This is already like a paste, but you can see this is a little bit thicker than it was with the food processor. If you like it thinner, just add a little bit more oil and then pass it another 4th time through the masticating juicer. Otherwise, this is it. This is how I like my almond butter. 3 rounds with no extra oil, or a 4th round by mixing with just a little bit more of avocado oil. Super simple. creamy and delicious homemade nut butter. Give a try to this recipe, and if you like it, give me a thumb, share the love, and I hope to see you hanging out in the next video.